What is up? We are back with another episode, our first official episode of Talking That Talk with Kiefer Kriegs. I'm Kiefer, he's Kriegs. Yesterday's episode was a special, so this is technically our first episode. Um, but we're just going to recap what happened last night, yesterday, dig into the other sports, and just get into it. So, obviously, we saw last night uh, Chiefs beat the Bills. Bucks beat the Packers. We got Brady versus Mahomes again. This is the third time they have met.
Installment.
Third installment. Brady versus Mahomes 3, I guess you could call it. Last two were in the AFC Championship game. Obviously, Brady's got a different team. Stakes are a little higher, but what are you thinking about that?
I think that game's gonna be nuts. I think it's gonna be good. I don't. The over under is 56 on it right now, and I think the spread's 3.5. Kansas City. I'm sure those will get closer. Those will get changed closer to game time. I'm not really sure how. I don't really know how you can bet against either of those teams after their performances on Sunday. I mean, the Bucks proved me wrong and fucking shit on the Packers, which I love to see as a Bears fan, but as a sports betting fan, I was not happy to see. And then it looked like the Chiefs kind of couldn't really figure out where they wanted to go with some certain things in the first quarter. I think they were down 9-0 to start,
And then just absolutely
yeah.
put the foot on the pedal and kind of floored them. Hill went nuts. Kelsey went nuts. Well, it's not even right to say they went nuts because that's their normal output.
Right.
That's their
In
week
fact,
to.
he had 9 catches. I think it was like 118 or something like that.
That's their normal
It was
weekly output. Well, Kelsey more than Hill. Kelsey's more consistent than Hill is, but I understand it. This is also the first time a hosting city of the Super Bowl will be playing in it, so technically this is a home game. This is a home game for the Bucks.
right. One of the things that we've always kind of like wanted the home team, kind of always pulled for the home team to like get the card for the Super Bowl, so that way could see what it looks like. But of course, the year it does happen, I think they're allowing like 7,500 fans or something like that, and they can only be medical workers with a vaccination in the respective cities of the two teams.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it'll play as big of an advantage to the Bucks as it would in other years because of the fan thing. But I think what's actually kind of unique, that I saw this on Bleacher Report today. So, how greatness just kind of follows Tom Brady. And since Tom Brady announced that he was going to Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay Lightning went to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Rays went to the World Series, and now the Tampa Bay Bucks are going to the Super Bowl. So greatness just seems to follow Tom Brady, and I think it stems from his roots at Michigan. It's that culture there is just something else.
How much winning did he do at Michigan?
How much playing did he do at Michigan?
Exactly.
That's the real question. With that being said, gonna kind of dive into a weekend recap of the rest of the sports that happened.
We will talk about Super Bowl. Obviously, we got 13 days before the Super Bowl's played, so there's tons of times for us to get into it. But yeah, we are going to dive into the other sports. Towards the end of yesterday's episode, we did talk about the Blackhawks and the Wings playing for the second time in 3 days. The Blackhawks beat them 6-2, and Sutter had his first hat trick with the Hawks, which was nice to see. These teams have both kind of sucked the last couple of years.
Bad.
Well,
the Blackhawks, man. They haven't sucked. They just
had
to move on from their core. They had to move on to it.
Yeah.
They
Kane's getting up there in age, and so is Toez, but both teams don't look bad so far. They might not necessarily be top dogs, but it's early in the season, and they both look better than they have in the previous years.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. I mean, like I said, I don't follow hockey a whole lot. I always root for the Blackhawks when they're on, just because it's a Chicago sports team. But this has definitely been made me, listening to Redline Radio and the Barstool Chicago all the time. Like they talk about hockey a lot. So I mean, I've gotten to to find some love in the sport a little bit. So that's always nice, just as a sports fan. Excuse me.
Peaking some new interest. We're gonna jump into the NBA. The standings, obviously they're only 17, 18 games in, but the Eastern Conference, you got Philadelphia sitting at the 1 seed at 12-5, Milwaukee 10-6, the Celtics 9-6, Pacers 9-7, Hawks 10-8, Cavs 8-8 with 2 recent victories over the Nets. The Hawks 7th seed 8-8, the Knicks rounding out the Eastern Conference at 8-10. You got Toronto, the Bulls, Charlotte, and Orlando all kind of right there, and the Heat all within a game and a half, 2 games of that 8 seed, 7 seed.
It has really surprised me how the Heat have played this year.
Yeah. I think it's more, obviously I can't make the excuse for them because look at the Lakers, they're 13-4. Mm-hmm. But the Lakers have more star power and reloaded.
You think the bubble had a lot to play with it too?
Yeah, I think the Heat are still coming off that high from just running through the Eastern Conference and then getting to the finals and running up to a brick wall. But you got the Pistons 3-13, Wizards 3-9. The Eastern Conference is the Eastern Conference. I mean, granted, last year it's better than it has been, but it's looking this year, it's more of the same. Obviously, a couple weeks from now, we'll see once they get more games in. But there are games being canceled because of contact tracing with COVID. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see how the season turns out. The Western Conference, 1-8. We got the Clippers and Lakers at 13-4. The Jazz are 12-4, the 3 seed. Portland, Denver both have 9 wins apiece, but Trailblazers are 4th because they have 6 losses. The Nuggets have 7. Got the Grizzlies at 6, 7-6. The Suns at 8-7, and then the Spurs rounded off at 9-8. We do have 2 teams, the Mavs and the Warriors at 8-8, and then Houston, OKC, and Sacramento all have 6 wins. And then you got the Timberwolves, who are 4-9. But I mean, the expectations for Minnesota wasn't tremendously high, but with having D'Lo and Towns and the number 1 pick. They got the guy they wanted, Anthony Edwards, but they can't close out games.
I don't know what's happened to Karl Anthony Towns either.
No,
he I don't know.
He did test positive for COVID, and I know he lost a handful of family members.
Like 9 family members or something like that. Which is wild, but I mean, he used to be such a dominant force in the league, and I feel like, I mean, even I know last year he didn't play at all because of once the bubble happened, he left.
Yeah. Because
of the whole COVID thing. But I don't really see him as, one of the elite centers in today's game anymore. There was a time where he was averaging, what was it, like 22 and 15 or something like that for like one of the seasons, and he was really good coming out of college. I really liked him coming out of college.
I did too, and I've been pulling for him just every year. I say this is the year they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good this year, and just every year get let down. But another team, the Pelicans, 5-10.
Yeah,
they've lost 3 straight.
Made some moves. They made some moves in the offseason. Brandon Ingram's kind of starting to show up a little bit. I know Zion's been out and about. He hasn't really been playing a whole lot. But I expected more from them, really. I mean, truthfully. I mean, I know the West is the West, and it's tough as it is. But, I mean, I expected them to at least be 500 at this point.
It's still very early. I mean, they're 2-8 in their last 10, and they've lost 3 straight, so that's a huge factor of it. But I mean, the Rockets 6-9, which I can see them getting better now that they got Oladipo, and we'll start playing together. Wall, Oladipo, and Boogie. Boogie looked phenomenal this weekend, by the way.
Yeah.
Like his old self, and it's good to see because, I mean, people think he's an asshole, but I mean, he might be hot-headed a little bit, but that dude is good. That dude is good.
He can ball, though.
He can ball, and he's been screwed over with injuries the last several years. So
yeah. That was.
You can't not root for the guy, no matter your feelings on
it. I loved when in the March Madness there that he played in, he was just a prick the whole time.
Get under people's skin. He's like, he's this generation's Kevin Garnett.
Oh yeah, he fucking holds a high too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of switch back over to the Eastern Conference for a second. Chicago Bulls. I'll tell you what, man. They're 7-9 right now. They're 4th in their division. They're 9th, or 10th, in the Eastern Conference. But as far as the past couple years, they've started their best in their first 15 games in the last, I think, 4 years. I know I said on the last show that they already have a 3-game win streak under their belt that they had one with Jim Boylan, their previous coach.
Yeah.
Wendell Carter Jr. is not playing tonight. He leads the team in rebounding, so that gonna have to look up from Gafford and Laurie to pick it up a little bit. I'm still not sold on Patrick Williams, the kid they drafted. I mean, he didn't start a single game. He didn't start a single game in college. Literally not a single one. Okay, I understand he was a freshman, whatever. But his coach said he doesn't start games, he finishes them. Which, I mean, I don't understand.
I don't get that logic.
If he's a good player, he needs to be playing. He needs to start and finish games.
Yeah, exactly.
There shouldn't be a whole lot of times in college that you should be sitting out unless you're in foul trouble.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not sold on the Bulls. You know, Zach LaVine's averaging 27. He early in the year, I think they started off 1-3 or 1-4 or something like that, and he started getting some heat. You know, people were like, he's on the trade block. He
can't carry a team.
He's too much. Yeah. He's too much of a self player, and he took offense to that. Yeah. I mean, in that 3-game win streak, one of the games, him and Kobe White, who are their 2 starting guards, didn't get 10 points, and they won the game. And I mean, I think that, and it's not that they had bad games; they just moved the ball everywhere that
game. Here's something that's interesting, though. I'm looking at their splits right now. They're 2-4 at home, 5-5 on the road. Neither one of them's great, but 2-4 at home, a place that won 6 titles in 7 years, 8 years. I understand fans aren't there as much as they normally are, and I have to say, I'm sure their home record hasn't been great over the last span of time since they were good. And
but I mean, they still sold out. They still sold out every night. The United Center was still packed.
It's like the Cubs. No matter how bad the Cubs are, you're gonna they're gonna put asses in seats. It's just the lovable losers. But
and as much as I hate to say it, man, you know, the United Center in the 90s, it was fully Bull. It was the Bulls' place to play. You know, they share with the Hawks all year round, but it was definitely the Bulls Stadium. You know, and then it's
flip-flopped.
It's slowly been going away, and then the Bulls made their little run with D Rose and Joakim Noah.
But the Blackhawks also
were winning titles.
3 titles in 5 years.
Kind of got pushed under the rug. The United Center became, you know, more adapted to the Hawks fans. And I mean, I like to see it. Don't get me wrong. I like seeing the United Center packed. I love going there. You know, it's just around the area is great. I'm personally, I'm a little, you know, biased. I fucking love the city of Chicago with all my heart.
Yeah, I do too.
But man, it's a different type of buzz in the city when the Bulls are good. And it's noticeable. It's the same thing with the Bears.
Any team in Chicago is good. It's a different vibe in the city. And
you know what?
I've been there. I felt that.
It's gonna piss me off that the White Sox are gonna do so well this year. It really is. And I think with that being said, we should switch to talking about some MLB.
Huge news today.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is only the second time since 1997, so 24 years, that the Yankees and Red Sox have made a trade. The second time. And I think the other time was in 2014, I think is what I read. But
It was Ellsbury, wasn't it?
no, he signed with the Yankees.
Yeah,
And they're
that's right.
still paying that shitty contract. But Adam Octaviano, relief pitcher for the Yankees, got traded over to the Red Sox for player to be named later or cash considerations, which obviously shows you right there that this is 100% of a salary cap dump for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. That Octaviano dude's the guy that said he could strike out Babe Ruth anytime he played him, right? Because of his nasty slider or whatever it was, or
his funky motion. Yeah, he's a good relief pitcher, but he's not great. But there's only I want to say what 5% of relief pitchers can be labeled as elite or great in the league.
Yeah, if that. I mean, there may be 5. You might be able to push the consideration for 10 if you include closers, because a closer and a relief pitcher to me completely different. Completely different. Closers, they go out there in the 9th inning and that is it.
Yep.
That's what their job is.
You're getting 3 outs. Yep, you're getting the last 3 outs of the game.
For a relief pitcher,
you could come in the 2nd inning. You could come in the 8th inning, and anywhere in between.
And any situation too. Like
like
how Joe Madden got so much criticism in the World Series when he brought in John Lester. Granted, it was the right move to bring him in, not in that situation.
Not in that situation.
You bring him with
you leave
first
Hendricks.
of all, starting pitcher. Yeah, Hendricks was shoving. First off, second, you have someone who's pitched in the MLB at this point for 10 plus years. You know, he's won himself a title in Boston. And he's, goes through a routine every time he's in a pitch. And, there's a lot of people, superstitions are superstitions, but a lot of people do the same shit when they warm up for a game, whether it be, tossing bullpen.
He also knew, though, that the possibility of him going in relief, he probably knew the night before. Madden said, hey, if we need you to get Kyle out of the jam, you're the guy I'm going to.
Right. And I agree. I agree that conversation probably happened. But if I'm John Lester in that situation, I want a fresh inning.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be a starting pitcher and come out and into a jam, immediately working from the stretch, immediately high pressure situation. That in that situation, I would have loved to see him
shut the next inning.
I would have loved to see. Yeah. I would have loved to see Madden. If it's Kyle's time to go, it's Kyle's time to go. Bring in Justin Grimm. Bring in Pedro Strop. Get him a fucking out. There was 2 outs. They needed 1 out.
Yep.
Get him that out, and then you start Lester and Rossian fresh next inning.
Yeah. But since we are talking about the Cubs, we'll jump into the White Sox, as Krieger mentioned before. They just keep signing free agents. I mean, they traded for Lance Lynn, who is going to help their rotation immensely. He's a good starter, a good righty. Liam Hendricks, one of the best closers in baseball, signs a huge contract to come play for the White Sox. And don't get me wrong, my mom's a White Sox fan. I don't hate the White Sox. I hate their fans. Being a Cubs fan, I've dealt with them. But it's getting like I want to root for them, but I don't at the same time, because I already feel this. I don't even know how to describe it. They haven't won anything. They haven't done shit. Okay, first and foremost, but they just I feel like they're just getting this big head. It's getting bigger and bigger as the more pieces they get, and I've noticed it because more White Sox fans are coming out of the woodworks. But you get Hendricks. He's probably the best closer in the American League. You get him from Oakland. You get Lance Lynn, who's a good right-handed pitcher. They
And
got
they still got so many bats in that lineup
yes,
too.
they got Encarnacion last offseason. They got Yasmani Grandal last year. They just they're buying. They're realizing they've got a good young core like the Cubs had, and it's kind of similar to what we saw 7 8 6 6 7 years ago with the Cubs bringing in big names in the offseason to help that young core out, which is scary because I do not want the White Sox to win a World Series. But
I mean, realistically, with how it's looking like, and we're gonna dive way more into this on Wednesday. I'm sure we're gonna have a fucking 40-minute talk just on the Cubs.
yeah,
The way the Chicago Cubs organization is playing their cards, and with the reports that came out today and more things that have been just coming to surface, I think it is 100% reasonable to think, and realistic, honestly, to think that we're gonna see the White Sox have another title before the Cubs do. And it sucks because the Cubs were literally just. I mean, imagine the Cubs signing Liam Hendricks, or like that would have been
or getting
nuts.
getting a big bat like Grandal or Encarnacion in the offseason. But instead, the
Or
last two
just
off
keeping
seasons.
the pieces that you fucking had.
Well, yeah,
Jesus.
we'll get into that on Wednesday. We're just gonna keep going on with the Mets are another big team that have gotten some names. Trevor
Yeah, they're buying
Mays
in.
signed with the Mets. They traded for Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. And it doesn't look like they're done. From the sounds of it, it does not sound like they are done. They're still wanting to move pieces.
With the report that came out today,
there was
before this episode.
Yeah, there was a report today that Chris Bryant is likely suitors are the Blue Jays or the Mets, which I really hope is not true. But with the way this offseason has gone for the Cubs, I don't doubt it.
And what's even worse is there was also another report that tied both Hendricks and Chris Bryant to the Blue Jays. Which, I mean, we talked about it off camera and off, bullshit. I would be okay with it, but we better get the whole organization.
They better get everything in the kitchen for them.
Everything.
I understand that Toronto wants to win right now. Or I'm not diving into this. We're just gonna have a long episode on Wednesday because we've both been holding shit in. But we'll get more MLB as well on Wednesday as our first dive into the Cubs. So we'll move on to the final part, just NFL. The retired players. So we got Greg Olson and Phillip Rivers who have for sure hung up their cleats, called it. They're done. They're not coming back. And Drew Brees, I mean, there's reports before the playoffs saying that he's done. This is it. And from the sounds of it, he's done. He just hasn't announced it. He's probably waiting for the right time. He's probably going to wait for the season to be over completely to announce it, which sucks because it's kind of the end of the era.
Name, Maurice Pouncey, the center for Steelers, he hung him up. He announced his retirement. And the more and more that I'm looking into, the Steelers season as a whole, I could see Big Ben going out. I could see him hanging it up. But I also see, they started off 11-0. They're not really going to be losing a whole much as far as
Juju is a free agent though. Not that he's a huge piece of their offense, but
I think I don't think a team's going to take a shot on him. I think he'll sign back with Pittsburgh for a pretty, not super low, but a pretty average receiver contract. Obviously a wide receiver 1 contract. But I don't think he'll be making like Julio money or like
no shot.
Mike Evans money, even for that matter.
No.
But I don't see another team taking a chance on him right away.
No.
I think, he had his breakout year with Antonio Brown there, right? He was still there for it. And then he had a good year this year. But
he got moved spots. Brown was that slot receiver. He could do everything. And Juju could just run any route he wanted and just get coverage. But now Juju, with their outside weapons, Juju got moved inside, and his numbers obviously showed. But, I mean, he looked good in their playoff loss.
And that, what the hell is his name?
Claypool?
The receiver from Notre Dame. Yeah. He is good as shit, dude.
He's
really good.
I think he'll be a force in the league.
The rookie receiver class this year was actually
phenomenal.
Really,
yes,
really phenomenal. You got to talk about. I mean, obviously Justin Jefferson in Minnesota broke every fucking rookie receiver record that Randy Moss had.
CeeDee Lamb had a pretty decent year. Jerry Jeudy had
a good year in Denver.
The only one that did not really have a good year receiving wise was Henry Ruggs. He was inconsistent as hell. Didn't produce a whole lot.
And I also don't think they really used him.
They didn't use like
ability. The anywhere that John Gruden coaches is their offense is going to be weird anyways because of all the fucking West Coast style stuff they do.
All the stuff he likes to try to do, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean he tries and out confuses our defense more than he tries to just outgun them or outplay them. He just tries to outsmart them, which isn't a bad thing to do with certain teams. But you play in the same division as the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you won one time this year.
That was their Kansas City's lone loss was to the Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean I definitely think that they got a big decision to make on what they want to go moving forward with Mariota or Derek Carr.
Yes,
because Mariota, I think Derek Carr was injured for like 2 or 3 games this season, and in those 2 or 3 games, I think Mariota earned himself a starting gig. And I mean, I saw a tweet today from Ian Rappaport that there are 18 an official over under for quarterback changes in the league this year is 18 quarterback changes.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I mean, with that being said, we might as well just start talking about Matt Stafford and Deshaun Watson. I mean, those are the 2 big name quarterbacks coming out of this free agency, I could say. I mean, I definitely think you put Deshaun as number 1, and I mean Stafford easily number 2.
They aren't free agents though. They are going to have to be traded.
Right. You're all right.
Stafford, obviously, they came to a mutual agreement, so it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Right.
Watson says he wants out. Doesn't matter who they hire as head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And with the organization, I can't see them keeping him.
Right.
So Stafford, I'm thinking Indy, San Fran are the top 2 places. I think some under the radar, maybe Denver, Chicago, couple teams like that.
And you know what? Being a Bears fan, I would appreciate the shit out of Matt Stafford if he came over here, if he came to Chicago. Truthfully, like I've talked some shit about him in the past years on Twitter, and just overall, just the Lions organization as a whole, and me haven't really gotten along. But I would love if he came to Chicago. Yeah. I would love it. I would be all for it. Obviously, Deshaun Watson, I think there is, if I were to have to put a number on it, I think there's about a 5% chance that he comes to Chicago. Just because the Bears don't really have the draft capital to give up for him.
Nope.
And
what do they really have?
Fuck?
Player-wise, what do they have to give up? You know what I'm saying?
It would be a long shot for him to come to Chicago. But if I'm Deshaun Watson, I don't want to go to fucking Chicago anyways. Their whole organization is a clusterfuck. And 3 years ago,
they didn't want him in the first place.
4 years ago, you didn't even talk to me.
Yeah.
The Bears didn't schedule a meeting.
Nope.
Not one meeting with Deshaun Watson. National champion, second in the Heisman voting. Like
beat Alabama.
Didn't even entertain the fact that
thought of drafting him.
They're like, and you want to know what? You want to know why? Because Mitch Trubisky played in the whatever fucking shithole bowl North Carolina played in 4 days before the first set of playoff games. Yeah. And Ryan Pace said after that game, he saw Mitch ball out. His mind was made up with no questions asked. None. It makes me want to fucking throw my entire PC out the window.
I don't see Watson going to Detroit either, or Chicago either. Because, like I said, I don't think they have the draft. Krieger said they don't have the draft capital. I don't think they have that, nor do they have players that Houston would necessarily want.
Right.
With Stafford, I said the teams with Stafford. I think
he's gonna end up in San Fran.
He will go to a playoff-ready team, and he will finally get a playoff. Very, very early prediction, but Stafford will get his first playoff win next year. Sorry, Lions fans. Watson will go. I think Watson will stay in the AFC. We talked about it a little bit. So? I think it'll be the Jets because
I don't know.
He wants to go to New York or he wants to go to Miami, and I think those are the two best. If he goes to Miami, they're in good shape, and I think the Jets have They have Gase is out of there finally. They're gonna get somebody new in there. I think they can start to turn the ship around in New York if they get Watson. But if I'm Watson, I want to go to Miami.
So the only reason that I could see Deshaun Watson, I mean, I know he wants to, but the only reason I would want to go to the fucking Jets is if it was my hometown team, and he's from Georgia.
Yeah,
he's from Gainesville. Like I don't. There's no way I would, as just seeing the Jets go 1-16. I mean, I know they have a lot of draft capital. They're gonna draft probably that tackle out of Oregon.
Yeah.
Because they drafted a tackle last year in the first round. They're gonna if they draft that tackle out of Oregon this year, they're gonna have two studs on the outside, which is been the reason they're so bad is because they just can't fucking protect Sam Darnold. They cannot. I mean, I'm seeing ghosts out there. Like
man's running for his life.
I don't think he's ever been. I mean, you got to think he played at USC, right?
When they weren't good. Yeah.
No, they were, and so he's not really been. I mean, he was all right. He was what? Did he go number 3 overall?
I think
did he go 2? He went after Baker, didn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was up there. He was the top 10 pick.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever really been comfortable.
Yeah.
Like just go in there. I think, first of all, having to play in the same division as Tom Brady, play him 2 times a year. And then the Bills are going to Buffalo. Bills Mafia is always a tough run.
The Dolphins.
And then who's the other team in the AFC?
The Dolphins.
The Dolphins. Going down to Miami. That's hard to play at. Humid as shit down there all the time. I just don't think, and if you put those aside from just the fact that your offensive line can't fucking protect you, I think you're set up for failure.
And Adam Gase had no clue what he's doing. He's showing it in 2 different spots, in Miami and in New York. That man does not need to be in the NFL.
He's this quarterback guru. He's
look at what players have done since they left him. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill. Jarvis Landry. Those are just a few names that have gotten away from Gase and have flourished.
I forgot he started in Miami. What else is I saw this when I was scrolling on Twitter today too. Everyone always said that in Pittsburgh that Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown were the big problems in that organization. They're both playing in a Super Bowl in 13 days.
Yeah.
So
they're both nutcases though.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And they both got put on teams that Le'Veon Bell was 0-6 or whatever when he got traded.
Was he on the Jets?
Yeah, he was on the. He signed
on the Jets this year.
Yeah,
I know he signed with the Jets. I remember that because he signed with the Jets. I mean, it was a pretty big contract too, wasn't it?
Stupid contract.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm always gonna be rolling in this Jets green and Jets, Jets."
He gets traded a year and a half later.
It's ridiculous.
Doesn't even play 2 full seasons with him.
And what's crazy to me is that's kind of what the NFL's coming to now. There are a lot of you see these kids that are getting drafted in the 5th round and the 6th round that are making a name for themselves, and the leash is real short now. If you
Yep.
don't perform,
The
or if
player
you're
pool is getting bigger and bigger every year.
if you got bad chemistry, and like I'm sure the old hats hate all the new kids coming in.
Yeah.
Coming in with all the TikToks and the whole social media aspect of making your career and building a brand around yourself, which I'm all about, obviously, like build yourself, build that shit up. But at the end of the day, you get paid to play for professional football.
Yep.
If you have any gimmicks in that or any, hiccups in that, you're out of there quick. The lease is short.
Let's get into just a couple of the unrestricted free agents. We got Dak, AJ Green, Patrick Peterson, Allen Robinson, T.Y. Hilton, and Justin Simmons. I don't see. We'll have to see with Dak. I think it's 50-50 whether he's going to stay or he's gone.
I think with the injury that he suffered this year, he's staying in Dallas.
Yeah.
I think, and so Kellen Moore also declined the head coaching gig at Boise State.
Yeah.
At Boise State University.
Which is his alma mater. Yeah.
Right. Which, yeah, he strived there. He's fucking Jesus on that goddamn campus. I think the fact that he turned down that job just being an offensive coordinator for Dallas, I think he's the next head coach. I think Jerry Jones found his guy that he's molding. I think early prediction, I think Dallas starts 0-3 next year under Mike McCarthy, and Jerry Jones fires his first ever in-season coach.
Yep.
And I think they're going to promote Kellen Moore, and then it's just going to be his team. And I think Dak Prescott is going to be along the way because Dak and Kellen Moore have a really good relationship. Yeah. They both, know the offense really well. And I mean, Dak's not a bad quarterback.
No, he's not.
He really isn't. He's on a shit team. I mean, they were awful this year, and he was balling out.
Yep.
I mean, he was having 450-yard games like it was nothing.
He had to, because their defense was atrocious.
Yeah, it's just so bad.
It's a dumpster fire.
It's just so bad. I don't see
AJ Green is, if he stays, it'll be for like veterans minimum 1 or 2 years because he can't stay healthy anymore. Yeah. Patrick Peterson, not the injury sense, but I don't see him.
He's still in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm. I think he'll stay or he'll go to a bad team that'll give him money.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson, huge topic. We'll dive into that more. I don't think he stays. I don't think the Bears want to pay him, which are just stupid not to pay him, and I know Krieger agrees with me on that. We'll leave that subject right there for now. T.Y. Hilton, I don't see him leaving Indy, especially if they get Stafford or another quarterback. If
they get any quarterback.
I don't see them drafting a quarterback. I see they're going to go out and get a quarterback.
Indy's always, so they obviously hit the fucking lotto with drafting Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you draft Andrew Luck,
which was also a great draft.
He said, I'm gonna head out.
So I think that they got two good drafts out of a quarterback. And I think that they're just gonna kind of be a team that is a piece or two away from making a run in the playoffs. And I think they're gonna be just okay with plugging in quarterbacks every once in a while.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to draft anyone. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to go after like an Aaron Rodgers of the league or anything like that. I think they're just going to be okay with getting mediocre quarterbacks and kind of living with that defense is going to be good next year.
And they drafted a stud in Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, and they have Naheem Hines in the backfield too.
They're Matthew Stafford away from Super Bowl contention.
And that defense is going to need some money though. Darius Leonard's due for a contract here. That fucking corner, I can't think of his goddamn name. It's going to irritate me. I don't know, but he's due for some money. I don't see T.Y. Hilton being. I think T.Y. Hilton's going to stay there.
I do too. And then Justin Simmons, he's not leaving Denver. I know that. I can promise you that. He's going to get the biggest contract a safety's ever got. It's going to reshape the safety market, which sucks because then they're not going to be able to pay other people, and that means they're probably going to unload Miller for his contract.
Which we can get. But I mean, he hasn't. We'll get into that a different time too.
Yeah, he's.
Before we
wrap up Rodgers real quick. Let's talk about Rodgers real quick. First off,
those comments.
Matt LaFleur is an idiot. How do you kick a field goal there and get the ball back to Tom Brady? Stupid, idiotic.
And so the way I look at it is, you can either go for it on 4th down, okay, and if you miss it, you still got to get a touchdown.
Yeah, and they're backed up.
If you don't go for it, you just kick a field goal, you still got to get a stop and a touchdown to win the game.
Yes.
There was, and he said, oh, you know, we have a process, we have, you know, certain things that we go through. I just don't, and I mean, Aaron Rodgers was pretty vocal in his interview that, you know, he was kind of confused on why they kicked the field goal, and, you know, if there's, you know, the Tom Brady's of the league, the Drew Brees of the league, the you know, fucking Patrick Mahomes,
they're not kicking
Josh
a field goal
Allen,
there. Yeah,
they're not kicking a field goal there. No shot they are.
You let the best player on your team decide the game.
Yeah. And I think you live and you die by that.
Yep.
You go out there 4th down, you say, all right, Aaron, fucking sling it, do whatever you need to do. It's on you. And if you lose, then you ride by it. You know, I had faith in our guy, and unfortunately this time it didn't work out. You don't dog him for it. It's just that's what it is. You live and die by the team.
Exactly.
You live and die by your best guy.
And I think
there's no reason to have him. And for Aaron Rodgers to be as dominant as he has been, yes, granted, in the NFC Championship and the playoffs, he hasn't been the best. But with the year that he just came off of, there's no way.
You don't leave the ball in his hands. Yeah.
No.
Don't give him a shot.
For your season?
I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back with Rodgers. I think
he's gone?
He's packing his bags. He's done. Last year, they draft his replacement. Pisses him off. He goes on, has a great season, wins MVP. He was, vocal about being pissed off about that. He's vocal last night about being pissed off about the decision-making. Mm-hmm. They're not drafting to help him. They have not drafted in the last couple years to help him. They're more like, we'll squeeze by now. We'll see what we can do with when we got Rodgers, and we're going to look towards the future. Rodgers will not be in Green Bay next year. And that's my
imagine if they had they got the Smith brothers on their defense. They got Frank Clark in the middle.
Rashawn Gary.
Rashawn. I mean, their defense isn't bad, but they put no money into it.
They put no money in their defense.
They put no draft into their defense. I mean, they really overall in Aaron Rodgers' career, I don't think they've gotten much better. Their rosters have just kind of been,
stagnant. They've plateaued. Yeah. It's this every year, maybe just a little bit up and down.
You know, they'll squeak out like this year. They squeaked out an 11-3 season. You know, they'll throw out a 13-3.
The last 2 years, 13-3.
Yeah, they'll squeeze out a 7-9 here and there. You know,
but the division they're playing in, it's like obviously Brady is better than Rodgers, but it's like that argument with Brady. He played in the AFC East. Look at those 3 teams. Brady's whole career. Look at that. Look at the NFC North. Rodgers' whole career.
Yeah. I mean, Rex Grossman has as many NFC Championship wins as Aaron Rodgers. Rex Grossman.
Yeah, Rex Grossman.
Which is astonishing to me.
Tom Brady has as many NFC Championships as Drew Brees and Rodgers. But that's gonna do it for today. For Talking That Talk. Wednesday we'll just be a short little recap of the other sports, and then we're gonna dive into our first slide into MLB and our Chicago Cubs. That being said, you got anything to wrap this up?
No, we appreciate all the love and the support on that first video. It did a lot better than I thought it was going to for day one. I'll say that.
Yes.
If you've seen these on YouTube, like them. User interaction is what's gonna put them out there the most. Like them,
comment what you want to see.
Yeah, comment. If you think we're making a bad take, tell us about it. We'll talk about it on the next show.
We'll discuss
if
it.
you
Yes.
Want, yeah. If you want certain things to be talked about, if you want us to go a certain way into NFL, if you want us to go a certain way into hockey, just let us know. We'll accommodate to it. I know we're gonna start booking some slots for having people come on. I think we're gonna do that. I don't think we're gonna do it this Wednesday. But I think Wednesdays are going to be our slot that we have people come on, just a little short 15 minutes, talk some shit about whatever they want to talk about. Once we start getting some feedback as far as comments and, things like that, we'll start dedicating a segment, each show to talk about things that people brought up. Other than that, we got the Twitter page, we got the Facebook, we got the YouTube all out. Show some love on it.
Get it bumping.
Yeah, like we said, we're not quitting our day job. Shit, I literally got out of work and hopped on the computer.
And this is what's gonna be like during the week. We're just gonna hop on,
shoot some shit. We're not putting a whole lot of thought into it. We got a little layout for each show, a little couple notes here and there, but we're not getting super intricate into it. We're just, like you said, we're two lifelong buddies that talk shit about sports. 90% of our conversations we have.
Yep.
So we might as well get some content out of it.
Exactly. All right. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Thanks for stopping in. Peace.